Hello, and welcome to part 3 of the Quick Maths Fractions section. Let's get started. Let's look at the objectives for today. Firstly, we'll look at multiplying fractions, including multiplying a fraction by a whole number, multiplying a fraction by a fraction, and multiplying mixed numbers. We'll then look at a shortcut for dividing fractions. Let's first look at multiplying a fraction by a whole number. I will take the example of this rectangle divided into tenths. Here, 1/10 is coloured in. In this diagram, 4 times as much is coloured in, and this is 4/10. So 1/10 times 4 equals 4/10. This shows that to multiply a fraction by a whole number, or integer, you just multiply the numerator by the integer and keep the same denominator. 1 times 4 is 4 for the numerator of your answer, and we keep 10 as the denominator of your answer. Then simplify your answer if possible, and change to a mixed number if you need to. We can simplify our answer of 4/10 by dividing the numerator and the denominator by 2. 2 is the highest common factor of 4 and 10, so our answer in its lowest terms is 2/5. Let's do another example of 2/5 multiplied by 7. Again, we multiply the numerator by the whole number and keep the denominator of the fraction. 2 times 7 equals 14. This is the numerator of our answer, and we keep the denominator of 5 as the denominator of our answer. Notice that this is a top-heavy fraction, so we can convert it to a mixed number. You can look back at part 1 of this section if you need to revise mixed numbers. 14/5 equals 10/5 plus 4/5, and as a mixed number, this is 2 and 4/5. 4 and 5 have no factors in common aside from 1, so we cannot simplify this answer further. Let's look at multiplying a fraction by another fraction. And let's go back to our earlier example of a rectangle. In this rectangle, 1/5 is coloured in. In this rectangle, a half as much is coloured in as the previous rectangle, and you can see that 1/10 is shaded in. So 1/5 times 1/2 equals 1/10. So to multiply fractions, we multiply the numerators for the numerator of our answer, and multiply the denominators for the denominator of our answer, and then we simplify where possible to express in the lowest terms. So for the answer to 1/5 times 1/2, we do 1 times 1, which equals 1 for the numerator, and 5 times 2, which equals 10 for the denominator. We cannot simplify this answer as the highest common factor of 1 and 10 is 1. Let's do another 2 examples. 3/5 times 1/6. Now we multiply the numerators for the numerator of our answer. So 1 times 3 equals 3. And we multiply the denominators for the denominator of our answer. 5 times 6 equals 30. Now we can simplify this answer because the highest common factor of 3 and 30 is 3, so we can divide the numerator and the denominator by 3. 3 divided by 3 equals 1 for the numerator of our simplified answer, and 30 divided by 3 equals 10 for the denominator of our simplified answer. This is the answer in its lowest terms. The next one is one for you to try, so you can pause the video if you need to. 5/7 multiplied by 3/5. Again, we multiply the numerators for the numerator of our answer. 5 times 3 equals 15. And we multiply the denominators for the denominator of our answer. 7 times 5 equals 35. Now 5 is the highest common factor of 15 and 35, so we can divide the numerator and the denominator by 5 to simplify our answer. 15 divided by 5 equals 3 for the numerator of our simplified answer, and 35 divided by 5 equals 7 for the denominator of our simplified answer. This is why our earlier method for multiplying a fraction by a whole number works. Let's take one of our earlier examples, which was 2/5 multiplied by 7. 7 can actually be expressed as a top-heavy fraction, 7/1. Remember that a fraction is one number divided by another, the numerator divided by the denominator. So in order to get the answer to 2/5 multiplied by 7, we multiply the numerators for the numerator of our answer. 2 times 7 equals 14. And we multiply the denominators for the denominator of our answer. 5 times 1 equals 5. So we get an answer of 14/5, which is the same answer as we got earlier. Now let's look at multiplying mixed numbers. For this, you must change the mixed numbers into top-heavy fractions and then multiply them in the same way as you would do when multiplying normal fractions. Let's take an example of 1 and 1/4 multiplied by 2 and 2/5. Now we have to convert each mixed number to a fraction with the same denominator as the fraction that you already have in the number. So 1 and 1/4 will be converted into quarters. 1 and 1/4 is the same as 4/4 plus 1/4, which is equal to 5/4. 2 and 2/5 will be converted into fifths. 2 and 2/5 is the same as 10/5 plus 2/5, which equals 12/5. Now that we have these top-heavy fractions, we can multiply them. So we multiply the numerators to get the numerator of our answer. 5 times 12 equals 60. And we multiply the denominators to get the denominator of our answer. 4 times 5 equals 20. Now the highest common factor of 60 and 20 is actually 20. So to simplify the answer, we divide both the numerator and the denominator by 20. 60 divided by 20 equals 3 for the numerator of our answer, and 20 divided by 20 is just 1. Now as a fraction, 3/1 is just 3, and this is our answer. Here are some examples for you to try. You'll find the answers below the video. Now let's look at dividing fractions. We'll use a shortcut for this, which is turn the divide sign into a multiply, turn the fraction you are dividing by upside down. Turning a fraction upside down is called inverting the fraction. And finally, multiply the fractions that you have left. Let's take an example. 1/6 divided by 2/5. So the first step is to turn the divide sign into a multiply. You then invert the fraction you're dividing by, so 2/5 becomes 5/2. And finally, multiply the fractions as normal. We multiply the numerators for the numerator of our answer. 1 times 5 equals 5. Then we multiply the denominators for the denominator of our answer. 6 times 2 equals 12. 5 and 12 have no common factors apart from 1, so we can't simplify this any further, and the answer, 5/12, is in its lowest form. Let's do another example where we divide a fraction by a whole number. This uses exactly the same method, but you need to remember that a whole number can be expressed as a top-heavy fraction. Our example is 3/4 divided by 6. Now 6 is just 6 over 1 as a top-heavy fraction. So once we've replaced 6 with 6 over 1, we now follow the steps for dividing fractions. The first step is to turn the divide sign into a multiply. The second step is to invert the fraction that you're dividing by. So 6 over 1 becomes 1 over 6. Then we follow the steps for multiplying fractions. We multiply the numerators for the numerator of our answer. 3 times 1 equals 3. And multiply the denominators for the denominator of our answer. 4 times 6 equals 24. Now the highest common factor of 3 and 24 is 3, so we can divide the numerator and the denominator by 3 to simplify our answer. 3 divided by 3 equals 1 for the numerator of our answer, and 24 divided by 3 equals 8 for the denominator of our answer. So our final answer is 1 over 8, and this is the answer in its lowest terms. If we are asked to divide mixed numbers, then we turn the mixed numbers to top-heavy fractions and perform the usual process to divide fractions. Let's take an example. 2½ divided by 3 1/5. We turn both of these numbers into top-heavy fractions before we divide. 2½ equals 4 over 2 plus 1 over 2, which equals 5 over 2. 3 1/5 equals 15 over 5 plus 1 over 5, which equals 16 over 5. Now we perform the usual process for dividing fractions. First we replace our mixed numbers with our top-heavy fractions. So 2½ becomes 5 over 2, and 3½ becomes 16 over 5. Then we turn the divide into a multiply, and we invert the fraction that we're dividing by. So 16 over 5 becomes 5 over 16. Now we multiply the fractions. 5 times 5 equals 25 for the numerator of our answer, and 2 times 16 is 32 for the denominator of our answer. 25 and 32 have no common factors apart from 1, so this answer is in its lowest terms. Here are some for you to try. You'll find the answers below the video. Thank you for watching. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe so we can bring you more videos.